Hey guys, today I want to share with you on some tips to consider when you're picking a pediatrician for your child. And again, I learned this firsthand as being a new mom, and I want to share that with you. So what are some of the top things I've learned? First of all, look at your health insurance. Which providers are in network? Because the in-network providers will be much cheaper compared to out-of-network. Second, you want to look at providers that are trained and have the right credential and degrees, and how you do that is by looking at the website and have a bio. They usually have a bio and it kind of tells you the years of experience and then their special interest, and that kind of gives you a heads up on how in terms of the credentials and how they are. But most importantly, looking at reviews that the providers have. And nowadays with various apps out there and websites, you can actually take a look at the reviews for the providers. One of the app out there is ZocDoc that you can look into, and patients provide real-time feedback on their providers, or of course the Google reviews. Some of those are, you can take a look and see if the providers go with your values and philosophy when it comes to raising a child. And because the pediatrician is going to be with your child for the next 18 years, and you want to make sure that you pick the right one from the start instead of changing. The other considerations for me is their hours. Babies don't get sick 8 to 5, Monday to Friday, 8 to 5. They get sick whenever they want to get sick. So it's really important for me in terms of looking at hours, if they have after hours, or are they affiliated with a large institutions that offer after hours or urgent care. And that's something to consider. Especially depends on your job as well. If you have flexible hours to take your kid or not, or if you need early morning appointments or late evenings appointment, those are also factors. My pediatrician, his hours are Monday to Friday, 8 to 5:30, but they do have an urgent. He's a part of a big pediatric hospital and system. So they have it after hours as well, urgent care, if my child does need to go to be seen after hours. The other part is electronic, how and convenience in terms of getting access to the data. So a lot of times school/daycare requires immunization record, requires authorization letter from the providers. So for me, it was huge to get some type of access to my child data in real time, as well as easily on my phone or on my laptop. So my pediatrician, being a part of a big organization, we have access to an electronic health record called Epic. So I can actually log into Epic and look at all his chart, his immunization, his labs, which are nice. So I enjoy that, and they can even schedule appointment online as well. So I like that easy access and being able to get all the information if I need, because you most likely will need it. The other factors that also take into consideration is how close is it to your house versus your work. And where I chose is pretty midpoint between work and home. And the reason for that is because if your child gets sick, you don't want to drive an hour, 2 hours, or 45 minutes out. You may, if you feel like you have a really, really good pediatrician, but if I can find a really, really good pediatrician that is close to home or close to my work, I'd rather do that. So take that into consideration as well. Last is how easy is it for you to communicate with your providers. And sometimes I know it might be hard for you to have or to pick a provider without seeing him. Some organizations and some providers have kind of a free, I wouldn't say free trial, but a free clinic visit just to get to know them, or you can also call them on the phone and just interview them and to see how they would respond to some of the questions, like are they going to be more thorough in terms of and directive in terms of antibiotic prescriptions, because kids in the first year get sick a lot. So are they more on the weight NC approach, or they're gonna give out medication immediately if a problem arises. So whatever your concerns or how you will approach, you can actually ask. And more importantly, you can also ask your OBGYN. Most likely he or she will have recommendations for you, or who if they have kids, who are their pediatrician. So they will also be a good resource for you. And of course, your friends or family members that have good experiences with their pediatrician. Those are kind of the first thought you can narrow down your search. Because the main important point is that you need to establish trust with your pediatrician and being able to communicate with him freely. With mine, I can always message him, and he's pretty responsive within a day. They usually take within 48 hours, but if I have concerns, I take a picture and send him immediately, and he was able to respond, say, oh yeah, that's fine, it's normal. Or especially within the first year and it's your first child, you don't know what you don't know, and it's honestly very scary. Some of the stuff that comes up, like the rash and all these different symptoms that you don't know. You can read all the books you want, but it's nice to have an expert right there by your side and asking questions, and he'll respond immediately, or in a timely manner, or he'll be like, yeah, come on in earlier. And the last thing that I'll also look for a pediatrician or a clinic is how easy is it to get an appointment. Do you have to wait for a long time to get an appointment, especially for an urgent issue versus like a checkup? So again, you can ask that at the front desk, but like, if I need an appointment for next week, what's the availability? And if they say, oh, we won't have an appointment for the next 3 weeks or 4 weeks out, then you may want to consider, is that something that you're willing to wait if that's how busy they are? And of course, it depends if a provider's affiliate with a large organizations, they may have other clinics and other pediatricians that can see your child first. Or if your pediatrician's out on sick leave, or because they do get sick, on sick leave or taking vacations, who's going to be a backup to seeing your kids? Again, because kids get sick whenever they choose to get sick. So all this play in effect, because in the end, you don't want to take them to emergency room or urgent care, because that costs a lot more money than if they go to a pediatrician. So these are really important points to consider, and I hope you find that helpful. For those that have gone through this process already, please share your comments below, because as always, I'm still learning, and these are some tips I've learned throughout the way. Thank you. Have a great day.